Hello and welcome. Today we are in the new Tier 5 British battleship, the Agincourt. This ship was given to me by Wargaming. Agincourt is actually named after a small French village. Okay, it's actually named after the Battle of Agincourt, which is named after a small French village, which means that the battleship is named after it. See? Anyway. This ship to me is disappointing, because I feel that her downsides do not make up for her upsides. Her main strengths are that she has one of the highest broadsides at her tier. No, probably the highest, because she has 14 guns. 7 turrets with 2 guns each. She also has very good concealment with Concealment Expert. I am down to 10.7 kilometer concealment. And she also has pretty good secondaries. In fact, I think she has something like Massachusetts-style secondary accuracy, which, at least on some of the secondaries, which means that these secondaries actually are quite useful, surprisingly, even though it's Tier 5. But you'll still have to spec for it, and even then the ranges aren't the greatest. But again, it's Tier 5, so ranges don't have to be the best anyway. However, she also has a fair bunch of downsides. One, she has no anti-air, and when I say that I don't mean, oh, her anti-air is really weak. I mean she literally has no anti-air. If the captain went on the deck with a pistol, it would have more anti-air in that case. It also has limited range. 15.3 kilometers puts you at it's uncomfortably little for a battleship, especially one that goes 22 knots. Also, in a little moment, we might see what a heavy broadside means, because this Furutaka is showing broadside at 10 kilometers. Okay, 1 penetration that did overpen damage, but a follow-up is goodbye Furutaka. Triple Citadel just like that. Anyways, I was saying that she has limited range, because she does. 15.3 kilometers really isn't enough for a Tier 5 battleship. It's fine when you're in Tier 4 to 5 battles, although even compared to other Tier 5 battleships, you probably lack range. I mean, the Congo, for example, has 21 kilometer range, but the the Iron Duke, which is the Tier 5 British battleship, has 16.8. But this kind of a difference, 1.5 kilometers, it's something, but it's not insurmountable. The range feels a bit uncomfortable in some Tier 6 matches, but it can feel pretty horrible in Tier 7 matches. Because you can very easily end up in situations where you have either nothing to shoot at or nothing that you can deal a lot of damage to shoot at. Because you only have 22 knot speed. Also, she has a problem with her AP penetration. She does have 305mm guns, although there shouldn't be any actual practical difference in overmatch compared to 356, but, well, smaller caliber guns tend to have less penetration, and this ship definitely suffers from the lower penetration problem. I think she has something like 300mm of penetration at 8 kilometers. I mean, if you put this against Tier 7 battleships, you can suffer with being unable to penetrate the armor plates you need. Ultimately, my problem with the ship is that I don't think the heavier broadside, the 14 guns, that you can fire all at once, make up for the downsides that the ship has. You know, she also, on top of the fact that that what I've also mentioned, the Iron Duke, for example, has about 10% more HE DPM. She has, I think, like a little bit more AP DPM. So the Iron Duke is actually capable of putting out more damage, while also not suffering from some of the other problems that this ship has. You know, the complete lack of anti-air, for example, or the lower AP penetration values. I feel that the downsides of the ship aren't made up with the upsides that the ship has, mainly the heavier broadside and the secondaries. I mean, it's not that it's nothing, I just think that you'll probably be better off playing some of the other Tier 5 battleships. Although, that doesn't mean that it's like a horrible battleship. No, it's not like Myogi or Kawachi levels. No, that's not it at all, but it definitely didn't feel like a great ship to me. When I went and played some König and some Congo later, I it was a better experience, I've got to say. But I think that a lot of that has to do with my bias though, because, you know, I don't really like slow ships, and this is a slow ship, unfortunately. Okay, in this match so far, we went in and actually fought a close-range battle. Now I'm being attacked by an aircraft carrier and I have no way to defend myself, but obviously, even if I were some kind of another battleship, chances are that it wouldn't really save me, the anti-air I mean. But we took out 3 ships already, we've done 100k damage, so we've already done our job. It has a normal heal and all the other things are kinda like you expect. It's just that my main issues are the range limitation and the fact that it doesn't have quite the same AP pen and, well, no anti-air. Combine that with a fairly slow ship, I just don't really see why I would want to play this ship over, honestly, even the Orion, that is the tier 4 British battleship. In fact, I would definitely pick the Orion because this ship gets into tier 7 battles. And you can easily meet tier 6 aircraft carriers. Not that the anti-air of other battleships would help you. Against that, I mean, right now I do have an Italian battleship next to me that's opening up on those planes, but it's apparently not doing much. But if we were together with an anti-air, maybe it would ward off the CV's attack or something. But mine just can't do anything. Okay, so I think Izakas is gonna go finish that Mutski off, so we should probably focus more on where we spawned. I think that's the C-cap or D-cap, I'm not really sure. I really can't tell because other numbers are on top of it. No, it should be the C-cap. Yeah, it's the C-cap. Basically, I'm gonna try to flank that Marblehead, the König and the Omaha. Right now it's not that big of a deal because they're close by, so I can engage immediately, but if, for example, there weren't other ships around and I had to engage that Italian battleship at the back, it would take me quite a while to get within firing range of her. Come on, the Omaha has 27 HP. We can land 1 shell on her, right? Come on. 1 shell, please. Will this go over the ship? Oh, I think the other ship next to me. Yep, goodbye. Oh, actually she was taken out by the Hosho, not the battleship that fired next to me. Anyway, we're gonna intercept the Marblehead and the Hawkins over there. Should probably swap the AP, because I can most likely citadel the Marblehead. Although maybe I can actually citadel them with HE too. I haven't actually looked at the numbers of the armor values of these cruisers for a while. So overall, yeah, I don't really enjoy this ship too much. I had a better time in the Congo and the König that I played afterwards. But I mean, maybe you'll like this ship. I just think it's kind of the second coming of Viribus Unitis. I don't really see it being a very popular ship. Because it has 1.5 Sigma, so it basically has the Fuso accuracy, but it doesn't have the range. And it actually even has less speed. Or the AP penetration. So overall, I think in a lot of battles, you're gonna be firing mostly HE. And when you do that, there are just better options. Okay, Marblehead, please catch these with your broadside. Come on, some of these are gonna find Citadel. Are you kidding me? Wow, that's really unfortunate. Wow, I can't believe she survived that. Okay, I'm sure we can get her though. Just, we'll get at least like 2 more shots on her before she gets out of range. I guess maybe if the ship had like a scout plane, it wouldn't feel as bad, because then you could at least optionally sometimes boost up your range when you need it. In a battle like this, it doesn't really matter, but again, in tier 7, it wasn't very nice. Anyway, goodbye Marblehead. Next up is the Hawkins.
Our team has taken the lead.
We're winning. 5 versus 4 ships left. Yeah, I think we're winning this. Oh, Britannia decided to blap that Hawkins.
Taken the lead.
Next up, it's the... I don't know how to pronounce this, so I'm not going to Italian Battleship. I'm gonna turn in, and I think I'm gonna turn my turrets around as well after the next salvo. Oh, one thing the ship does actually have going for it over the Iron Duke and the Orion is the fact that she actually has 45-second turret traverse. Now, I know that doesn't actually sound very good, but compare that to 72 seconds of the other two that I mentioned, it's actually pretty nice. Still not quite enough. I'd like it to be faster, but obviously it's a tier 5 battleship and you can't have these kinds of niceties. Oh, thank god I didn't go first. The Hosha is luckily attacking the other battleship next to me. 800 damage, 2 ricochets, 1 non-penetration, 1 over-penetration. Yeah, I think we're gonna switch to HE. Okay, yeah, I think this should be a fine shot. By the way, check out how damn tall that ship is. But I guess that's what the masts are, right? So you can see further away. 6k with the HE salvo. I mean, I landed almost half of my shells, 6 of them. So that's actually pretty good. I'm gonna turning turrets as well. I guess one nice thing is that even when you do these kinds of turning maneuvers, etc., especially forwards, you still have 8 guns pointing, which is pretty good. Actually, I think you should have 10. I think one of my guns didn't fire quite right, but maybe it should be 8. Yeah, no, I think it should be 8. Well, we got a fire. I think she is gonna... Nah, she isn't gonna burn down. We're gonna get another salvo on her before that. Is the Hosha dropping me finally? Nope. That's good. I guess in this ship it's really useful when you have bait with you, right? Somebody that pulls the aggro from the aircraft carrier. Anyway, that's 5th ship sunk right there. It would be a Kraken if the ship were actually released. Oh, I'm actually almost in range of the König. If I were an Iron Duke, I could fire right now. But sadly, in this ship, I can't. I have to get slightly closer. I'm pretty sure the König can actually fire on me, though. But in this case, it doesn't really matter because she's advancing on me. And I think in tier 4 to 5 battles, it doesn't matter as much because players, well, let's be honest, they aren't that great. So they're not gonna massively take advantage of the things that your ship lacks at, especially in a new ship like this. But I think if you were against higher tier ships, they're going to abuse your lack of range quite often. And lack of speed, of course. Okay. I think we can get another salvo before the König gets behind the island. By the way, I've done 11 fires. That's actually really good. Maybe the ship is incredibly good at starting fires, because you do have a heavy broadside, which means that your chance of starting a fire in one salvo is pretty high. Although I guess technically your fires per minute number isn't quite as high, but your fires per salvo is pretty good. And let's be honest, when you're actually trying to start fires, the worst accuracy isn't quite as bad, because you do want your shells to spread out a little on the ship, you know, so that they don't all fall into the same spot, so you can sometimes start multiple fires. But I think the game's over now, right? Because that's gonna put us at 1,000 points, and yep. Goodbye, König.
Enemy battleship sunk.
Okay, so I had a pretty amazing game. I actually had another pretty good game in this ship. In terms of like the experience I had, it wasn't actually bad. The results I got were good. 143k damage, sank 6 ships. Although I do want to mention that this game had an actual bot in it on both teams. Their team had what's it called? Their team had that guy as a bot, and our bot actually managed to finish 4th on the team. So I guess that's kind of what, you know, To put into perspective the result I had, that was a bot. But yeah, I don't really like this ship. I don't think it's gonna be good. I think a lot of people are gonna regret when they play this ship. Because the range, it doesn't feel like it should be a big deal, but for a ship that's 22 knots, it definitely is when you get up-tiered. So now I want to take a quick comparison between the Agincourt and the Iron Duke. I'm using a tool called World of Warships Fitting Tool. You'll see a link somewhere in the description. And let's take a look at this. On the left side you have the Agincourt, and on the right side you have the Iron Duke. So they're both tier 5 British battleships. You can see one has 15.3 kilometer range, the other has 16.8. You can also see that they have DPM differences. By the way, if you're curious about the stats, I recommend a tool called World of Warships Fitting Tool. I'll have a link in the description. It is wowsft.com, and you can take a look at the characteristics of the ships over there. And you'll probably see, especially if you compare it to something like the Iron Duke, that the Agincourt just falls behind. It doesn't have the damage output that the Iron Duke has. It doesn't have the accuracy, namely in the Sigma. It doesn't have the range. It doesn't have the anti-air. Basically, the main things it has is the concealment, the secondaries, and the fact that it just has more guns to fire at once. Something I'd like to point out from the World of Warships Fitting Tool is this graph over here. This is the armor penetration graph. And you can see the blue line. It's basically distance in meters, how far it goes, and the blue line is how much penetration it has. The yellow line is Iron Duke, the blue is Agincourt. And as you can see, the Iron Duke is way better at penetration. But now, take a look at this. Just let's add in the Congo, that's the tier 5 Japanese battleship. And it just blows both out of the water in terms of penetration. It's not even a contest. In fact, Congo might actually have a little too much for a tier 5 battleship. But if you're fighting tier 7 ships, well, I'd much rather be in the Congo instead. Because that AP is gonna be way scarier. You can find more stats like this in the World of Warships Fitting Tool. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I would like to thank the patrons on Patreon. Thank you very much for your continued support, and I hope I'll see you guys next time.